including poor leadership, supply chain management issues and inadequate clinical care. Motsoaledi says prompt action is needed to ensure such tragedies do not happen again.
But I'm more alarmed to find that even clinical management is poor by doctors who are trained. Even the doctors did not do, I can't imagine. I haven't practiced for a long time, but I can't imagine a doctor finding a medically ill patient with pneumonia and referred him back to mental, without treating the pneumonia. That is unheard of. Now, what do we make of this? Because all doctors and nurses are trained in the same institutions in the country.
Action SA President Herman Mashaba and the party's councillors in Rustenburg Local Municipality Northwest have opened a fraud and corruption case against the municipal manager advocate Ashmar Kuduge. The party says the case was opened against the municipal manager for his role as the municipality's accounting officer and his alleged involvement in financial misconduct. The municipal manager allegedly failed to, among others, prevent unauthorized expenditure amounting to over 10 million rands and to prevent irregular expenditure for over 330 million rand. Mashaba had this to say.
We're here to come and lay criminal charges of this level of corruption that is really ravaging our country and our municipalities. This cancer of corruption we need as a country, as society. All of us must really take the responsibility. And I think for us as Action SA, we are here to support our two councillors who are coming to lay this criminal charge.
Trade Union Solidarity and Flyers Affair will return to the negotiating table this afternoon to discuss a resolution to the pilots' strike, which began last week. The strike marks the longest pilot strike in South African history. The pilots embarked on what was meant to be a one-day strike to express their dissatisfaction with salaries and the implementation of a new algorithm-driven rostering system. In an open letter to the public published yesterday, the pilots voiced their discontent over the rostering system, claiming that it's led to irregular schedules and insufficient rest. Solidarity spokesperson Helhard Cornier.
When most of these pilots went to SAFE, they went there because SAFE had a fixed roster pattern. They could fly, but they could also arrange their lives around their work because it was a predictable roster. And then SAFE started discussions with us regarding the change to a open roster system. Those discussions didn't deliver any outcomes, and we went into a dispute about the rostering system. And whilst we were in that dispute, the company decided to implement the open roster system from 1 February, irrespective of that those discussions have been finalized. And it broke down that trusted relationship between the pilots and the company.
Recapping the top story, the NPA in Gauteng has withdrawn charges against Mduduzi Mnisi, the man accused of killing 14-year-old Likhona Fose. I am Ondela Mara for SFM News Headlines at 1:30.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival, where music, culture and community come alive. Tune in to Seasons with KG Mwekezi and the soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay, coming to you live from the Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. on the 2nd of August 2025. Come and vibe to Sunel musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zingo Malo, Trompis and many more. More than music, share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. You are listening to The Full Circle.
I made myself leave when I say that I met over you. You made me feel like I'm on top of 1,000 leaves. You do that right, baby. You're my life. You're my sky blue. You make me free. Come, let's make a try. Maybe in time we can make it right. We should be flying high. This time will pass. We won't be here for long. I pray the void would overflow. Made it my mission to find you. This time I did it too. Life is much sweeter. Yes, it is true. Since you came by here, I made it through the wind and mist. Now it's better with you, better. I made it through the wind and mist. Now it's better with you, better. Come, let's make a try. Maybe in time we can make it right. We should be flying high. This time will pass. We won't be here for long. I make myself leave when I say that I met over you. You made me feel like I'm on top of 1,000 leaves. I made it through the wind and mist.
Simpiwe Dana and Tribe. Coming up on the show, it is the Full Circle. Yes, you are with me, Bertha, for the next 2 hours. And today, talking about psychology, supporting a loved one through living with depression. We're going to be speaking to counseling psychologist Ntabiseng Moeketsi. Also, we'll be talking to Brent Mart, a curator, and getting to find out what is happening, where stages, pages, screens, and more are concerned. Also, we'll be chatting to Tebogo Moalusi, convener of Creative 20. So G20 calling all cultural and creative practitioners in Johannesburg to voice or to air their voices, and we get to unpack how that can be done. In the second hour of the show, observing World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, ending human trafficking, requiring national response and societal commitment. And we're going to chat to Dr. Juliet Sambo, lecturer at the University of Pretoria. And, you know, when it comes to trafficking, it sounds simplified, but it is so intricate, it is so complex, it is so tangled, it is such a web that you cannot even begin to untangle it. And I think if we pay more attention and if we're more diligent as society, maybe we will be, you know, headed somewhere positive. Also coming up, what is the digital afterlife? Do you hope to maintain an active or passive digital presence after dying? We'll be talking to Professor Jaco Beers, head of Department of Religion Studies. That one is going to be quite an interesting one to unpack, because ever since the bombardment of all this technology, all this digital world, social media, boy oh boy, for myself, I'm speaking for myself, it's like I'm in a tumble dryer. And every time when I get a moment, you know, like a tumble dryer, when it gives you a moment, then you breathe, then you look, and something new comes up and something new comes up. But I think there's always a way to consume, and consume in a very productive manner. That's all coming up on the show.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out, because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
In partnership with SAFM, hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival, where music, culture and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at the Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sun El musician, Kelvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zingumalo, Trompies and more. More than music, share stories, spark change, unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za, brought to you by SAFM and SABC One. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat, Imbaula. And on that note,
Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
Yes, I know. On that note, we are giving away 6 double tickets to 6 listeners today for you to attend the Imbaula Music Festival with a partner. And you will need to, get you and your partner to the event at the Pretoria Botanical Gardens. That's starting at 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And all you have to do, call us on 086 000 2032, or you can WhatsApp on 061 410 410 and tell us 2 artists who will be performing at the festival. That's all you have to do. Give us a call and send us your WhatsApp on 061 410 4107, or you call us on 086 000 2032. And we'll be doing this throughout the show. So we've got 6 double tickets that we are going to give away. Something to look forward to in the show.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
So we are talking about something very sensitive. So this is Psychology Wednesday, by the way. Supporting a loved one through living with depression. Most of the times when you have someone who's depressed in your space, we always say it's going to be fine, a day at a time. And then even moments we say, snap out of it, get on with the program. You need to move on. Are those the right tools to use? So today's conversation is one that resonates across many households in our country. The emotional, the mental toll of depression, and more specifically, how we show up for the people we love when they are facing this invisible storm. South Africa is a country where resilience is part of our DNA. I mean, we've gone through a lot and we've just learned to survive somehow. But sometimes we confuse strength with silence. And that silence can be deadly, especially when it comes to mental health. Stats SA reports that depression affects millions, but many still suffer in isolation, whether it's your partner, whether it's your child, it's a colleague, it's a parent. Knowing how to support someone living with depression can be life-changing and life-saving. And we're going to unpack all this with our guest, Ntabiseng Moeketsi, counseling psychologist, just to figure out the proper tools. And sometimes what we think are the right tools may not necessarily be the right tools. But to our guest, Ntabiseng, good to have you on the show.
Hello, how are you this afternoon?
I am fantastic, despite the fact that we're going to talk about depression.
Yes. We might just look at it from a different perspective today.
Absolutely. And I mean, what are the real signs of depression, and how can we tell the difference between someone who's just having a tough time and someone who's clinically depressed?
To see if someone is going through a depression, the symptoms must be with this person for more than 6 months. They must be going through the same things, the same roller coaster for the 6 months, and then you can then say probably there is something wrong going on here. And most of the symptoms are symptoms that you go through every day, and if you are not aware of them, you'll think, they'll get over it, they'll be fine. Things like being extremely sad, being extremely moody, losing interest in what they usually do, losing interest in taking care of themselves, and losing interest in their personal development, maybe one and some of the symptoms that we see when a person is going through depression. And yes, the duration of the symptoms is one of the key elements that will show us that there is depression in this person.
And why do so many people with depression specifically hide their pain behind a smile, jokes? How do we then recognize the silent struggles in those we love? Because constantly they're just making a joke out of it, and yet deep down they are in the dark.
Sometimes it's not because they want to hide it, it's because they also don't understand what's going on with them. You'll find that a person is going through a difficult time, but they don't realize that actually they are sinking deeper into the dark hole. And while they are struggling with defining what is going on with themselves, they need to show up as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, as an employee, as everything else. And in order for them to show up, they develop this facade that says, I am happy, I am okay. And they even label what they're going through in a very humorous way for you to understand. But basically, number one is maybe because at that time they are not aware of what's going on, and two, they're confused by the symptoms themselves, and three, they're not acknowledging that they're going through a difficult time, and sometimes they're not even acknowledging why they are going through that time.
Also, it'll be interesting to hear our listeners what they've been going through and how they've been dealing with some of these demons. The lines are open, which is 086 000 2032, or you can send us a voice note on 061 410 4107. Then comes the emotional aspect of it, where it takes a toll on supporting someone with depression or someone who's a caregiver. How do you then navigate feelings of helplessness, guilt, or even burnout? You're trying to help, but maybe you're just not helping in the right direction.
Yes, and the sad part is that when a person is going through that and you're trying to help by coming on strong into them, they actually reject the help because you don't understand where they are. So the best way to start is to find out from them what they are going through. And if they lie, you then say, you play along with the lie, but making them aware that you're aware that they're going through something. And as they go through something, you are there to support them and to help them. And make them aware that you may not be the expert, you may not know what's going on, but at least you are available to listen, because that is number one step for people to open up about what they're going through, being available to listen to what people are going through. Secondly, when you support a person going through depression, don't come from your own point of view. Go in from their own point of view. Understand their emotions, their situation, and where they are. If you are in a stronger position, don't come in and say, the other time I was going through the same thing and I drank whatever. Maybe take this, it will make you better. Now you are talking about yourself. You are changing the situation to be about you. It's not about you. So remember all the time that when you help somebody, it's not about you, it's about them. And also make them aware that you're available to help them in whatever form that they wish to be helped. So the help doesn't come from you in the way you think it should be. It will come from you, but in the way that they wish it to be. So be at their level and help from their perspective. Basically, I'm just saying, wear their shoes for a second and understand where they're coming from.
Listening is a tool. Why is it simply that powerful without even trying to fix or give advice? Why is listening why is it such a powerful tool of support for someone living with depression?
Listening is a powerful tool because most of the time when people are going through depression, they think they're also misunderstood. And people don't know what they are going through, and people just make decisions on their behalf. So when you listen, you are entering their space and saying, I am here. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to come with my intelligent solutions to you. I'm just going to listen to what you're going through, and what you need. I may not have the solutions, but at least listening can give us a different perspective and may give me a chance to actually go through everything that you're going through, and then with you start on a journey to healing you. And maybe from there we can start interacting about what else can we do together, who else can we pull in, and how long have you been feeling like this, and why is it making you feel like this, whatever you are going through. So listening is just saying, I'm here to support you, nothing much. Just pour out your heart into me.
And what should we avoid? Especially when we want to help, what should we avoid saying to someone with depression? And what words or gestures?
Is one of the biggest mistakes people do. You should do this. Bani was going through that, they did this. And if you don't get out of this mood of yours, I'm going to call Uncle Bani, he will sort you out. Or we must take you to Gogos Bani, he will fix you. Don't come in with solutions that are very pushy, and don't come in as a know-it-all how. Just come in as a person who says, I don't know what you're going through. I've never been where you are. I don't understand what's going on, but I want to understand. And in understanding, maybe if you allow me, I'll be able to walk the journey with you and assist you to walk with you at a place at which you choose. However, I will also get some help from other people that you haven't touched in asking for help from. So basically, try not to come in as a know-it-all, as somebody who is threatening, and as somebody who can help, and as somebody who has all the answers. You don't know.
And it's so easy to think, you are helping when you're actually being more destructive.
Most of the time it is. People just come in and tell you all sorts of things, and you're listening to me and think, oh, what are they talking about? I mean, I don't need all the things they're talking about at that time.
So tell me, how does chronic depression, for instance, specifically impact a person's daily functioning. We're talking relationships, overall
Mhm.
quality of life.
Depression is very, very deep because it goes into your life slowly, and before you know it, everything is actually quiet and gone. And one of the biggest things is that it starts within the relationship that are closest to you, your partner, your kids, your sisters, your siblings, your parents. And when it starts there, those are the people that you will actually demonstrate how you're feeling through how you act. So yes, in relationships, we are not interactive anymore. We are not creative or innovative anymore. You are no longer receptive of love as well. You keep rejecting the help and the love that comes to you because at that time you feel like you don't deserve anything that is proper and that is good. So you reject everything that is good. So you become a repellent of good relationships and help. Number two, because you don't have energy, your energy is low. You also can't perform in your daily tasks. When you are working, you no longer are interested in your job anymore. You can't meet your deadlines. You're not interested in doing your reports. You don't do anything. You just want to be. And therefore, your work standard goes down. If you're a student, the same thing happens. You're no longer interested in schoolwork or your activities around the school. You no longer want to participate in sports or to be with friends. You find that you are a very social person. You talk to everybody. You are the life of the party. Suddenly, you just want to be alone. You just want to be left alone. And those are some of the initial stages that people can see that this person is not okay. He is no longer doing X, Y, Z because there are visible interactions and behaviors from you that are saying, I am not okay. And basically, we sometimes think with depression, you will suffer it in silence. But depression on its own is very loud because your behavior changes very loudly. It is that people, even if they are aware of behavioral change, they don't take it serious. They don't think it's something major. They always think, he'll be fine. I've seen that he's not doing X, Y, Z today, but it's probably maybe something that is happening at work. And that's the biggest thing again. Stop, as a person who's supporting a person who's going through depression, stop assuming and speculating.
Absolutely. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll take your voice notes. Remember the line 061 410 4107, or you can give us a direct call 086 000 2032. And I'm speaking to counseling psychologist Ntabiseng Moeketsi. We're talking about supporting a loved one through living with depression. It's time for news. We'll be back. Thank you, Bertha. On the news headlines, the man who was accused of killing 14-year-old Likona Fose says he is delighted that murder charges against him have been withdrawn. The Gauteng e-hailing services says without formal regulation, the e-hailing operators remain vulnerable to crime and exploitation. And nearly 2 million people have been ordered to evacuate in Japan following a powerful earthquake off Russia's Pacific coast, which triggered tsunami warnings in many countries. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
And on the line, I do have counseling psychologist Ntabiseng Moeketsi talking about how you can assist a loved one who is going through depression, and what we think is basic and straightforward. I know it's easy to say, you need to find a psychologist, you need to sit down with someone, and we talk so much. We have all these solutions, and the person we're trying to help, and this is something I've taken away from our guest, is silence is golden, where you just absorb and absorb and absorb and not be the person that gives all this advice that you think is helping. Sometimes it could be very detrimental. Welcome back. So let's talk about how cultural and religious beliefs in South Africa influence how depression is understood and how we respectfully balance spirituality with mental health care.
It's a very tricky one to speak about because obviously it has its own specialists that focus on spirituality and mental disorders. But from my 2 cents of psychology, I know that people who come from the spiritual world and are experiencing mental illnesses, they tend to think that it's a sign from the spiritual world about something with their health. And therefore, in terms of treating it, they take longer to actually come into psychologists or hospitals to seek proper or Western medical help to intervene. And you'll find that sometimes with depression, there is some mental brain dysfunction, malfunctioning in terms of hormones that need to be assisted with medication. And hence, when you go to a doctor, they will give you medication for mental health problems, for your depression, but they will also advise you to do counseling with a psychologist. So it's a dual process. So you take medication and your therapy. However, if you go the spiritual route, it may take you longer for you to seek appropriate help.
I've got a message that just came through, and they would like to remain anonymous. They said, I have a friend who has been using intoxicating substances. This is a friend that was so solid, well organized, and never used to drink or smoke or do all these things. All of a sudden, we've got this behavior. And what I've realized is when my friend really gets intoxicated, they get into a fit, which is becoming a little bit problematic. And I just don't know how to help, because this is someone who really is very solid, but something is just happening that we all don't understand.
That's a very common way that happens, particularly amongst young people. What I like to say is that all of a sudden probably took more than 6 months, it took more than 2 years. So you see all of a sudden, but your friend has been going through whatever that is going through for the past 2 years. And he's reached a point of breaking down, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And he is reaching out for that substance because it is giving him a temporary sense of comfort, which is not helping him to deal with the problem. And for as long as he's doing that, he cannot come out of the hole. So the best way to assist him is to speak to him, but looking at the behavior that you are seeing, not the assumption. So basically you say to the person, I know you to be this person, but I see now that recently you like taking XYZ, and these are the effects of that XYZ on your behavior, on your career, on your job, on your relationships. How can we help? Why are you taking this? What happened? Because there is never something never happens without a reason. So something sparked it. What has happened? Kindly so look at the behavior, look at the symptoms, and reflect it back to your friend and say, friend, maybe we need to talk. Maybe we need to find out what's going on with you. And do it in a very amicable and friendly way, and probably maybe take a drive with a friend and start the conversation about this. It may be a coping mechanism for him, and drinking is a symptom of a bigger problem that the friend is going through.
I've got another one from Mami. Mami says, what are some of our practical day-to-day strategies that I can utilize or I can use to implement so that I create a supportive environment for that person with depression?
One of the things I mentioned a lot already, but some of the things is to, if you're aware what are the triggers of depression, how it started, you make sure that those things are not around anymore. If it's a person, that people are not around anymore. If it's a person and their behaviors, you also try not to behave in a manner that triggered the depressive state in the person that you know. So you basically try to make the situation around this person very comfortable. And also, you do things that remind the person that life is still good regardless of what you are going through. And also remind them that they are going through the depression. They're not sitting there. So depression is not a permanent state, but it's an emotional state of passing through a difficult time. And yes, there are people who become depressed for very long, and they stay on medication for longer. Support the medication, make them aware of the time that they need to take medication, make them aware of the days that they need to go back to the doctor. If you see them relapsing and not taking medication anymore, remind them of how good it is to take medication instead of not taking it. Because sometimes you find a person is on medication and they think they're feeling better, they're doing okay, and the medication they're supposed to take it for at least minimum of 6 months. At the 4th month, the person's feeling, I'm okay, so why should I take it? And they go off medication. Make them aware. Be aware of their trends. Be aware of their behavior. Be aware of their triggers, and support them without becoming a know-it-all. Support them as a person who loves them and understands, and also support them as a person who says, I am here. I'm not blaming you for whatever happened to you, but I am here to support you to get out of it at your pace.
And then how can caregivers take care of their own mental health while supporting someone with depression? Because that can be a dark space and can take out a lot of energy. And why is it so important to set boundaries?
Caregivers must have someone they talk to as well. That's why there are groups, support groups of caregivers. So if you know a support group in your community that supports caregivers of people going through depression, join that group. If you have a group of friends that you normally go out with and you have one of them as a trusted person that you can confide in, use that opportunity. If there is a psychologist or a therapist or a pastor or Mama Vutikamo next door or anything, talk to that person. Seek all the support that you can get so that you are stronger for the person that you support. And also, educate yourself. Just know more and more and more about depression, and just know more and more about things that trigger it, and know more and more about how you can make it easier for the person going through the depression, and also how you can make it easier for yourself, because sometimes you can bite more than you can chew. So be aware of your limitations as well, and accept that you have limitations, and communicate those limitations openly to the people around you and also to the person that you're helping. And in that way, you will be defining your boundaries, how far you can help and how far you cannot help. And where you cannot help, what can be done. So defining your boundaries also helps you to be safe, and it protects you from tripping because of a lot of pressure that's coming from outside to help the one who is going through depression. So understanding, educating yourself, seeking help, and raising your hand to anyone and saying, guys, I'm overwhelmed. Can anyone assist? And guys, this is what I'm going through. What can I do? There is nothing that beats talking.
Absolutely. Ntabiseng Mwekezi, thank you for making time. For more information, where do we go?
You go to my cell phone number. It's 076-142-2459.
That's Ntabiseng Mwekezi helping us unpack dealing with someone who's struggling with depression, who is in your space, and you are the caregiver. You also need to keep your head above water, and you just also have to help the person that's also going through a difficult time. It is a catch-22 situation, but it's got to be done. Thank you so much. That's our counseling psychologist helping us unpack. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Brenton Mott, who is a curator. We're talking about Refuse Ability, a group exhibition opening tomorrow. That's the 31st of July from 6 p.m. at the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture's Gallery, University of Johannesburg.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
You are listening to SAFM Radio, this Mandela Month.
It is in your hands now.
Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Tune in every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2 for highs, the heartache, the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere. No subscription is needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
And coming up next, I've got my guest, Brenton Mott, who is a curator. So from the 6th of September, 2025, curated by Brenton Mott and Leora Faber, Refuse Ability brings together a dynamic group of visionary artists from Africa and the global south who repurpose the wreckage of extraction, empire and excess into urgent electrifying statements of resistance and renewal. And our guest will be able to unpack what this refuse ability is all about and what the exhibition actually will be showcasing. Brenton, good to have you on the show.
And Bertha, hi. Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
And thank you so much for making time. So tell us about the title of the exhibition, Refuse, Ability, and the story you're telling.
Sure. Refusability. Well, I'm actually speaking to you from inside the gallery, where we are feverishly busy with fine-tuning the last bits of this exhibition called Refusability. And yeah, I mean, I could say a lot about the title, but in a nutshell, it's divided into 3 words. And if you look at the 3 words individually, they give you a sort of indication of the intention of this exhibition is to look at artwork from artists who work with garbage that is increasingly and alarmingly being dumped in African countries. If you look at countries like Ghana, that is facing enormous pollution because of textile waste. If you look at countries like Ghana and Nigeria, where electronic dumping of computer parts and electronic components is causing an enormous environmental and social problem in terms of toxicity. And what we are finding with artists who live in these countries, artists who live on this continent, is that increasingly we are drawing on these found materials, on these found toxic materials, to be able to create new artwork, to be able to make sense of what effectively has become the flip side of colonialism. What started off as extraction of our minerals, of our air quality, our water quality, our soil fecundity, our lives, our health, our ability to breathe. The flip side of that is now that we are now facing an increasing onslaught of garbage being dumped in this continent. And so what this exhibition, Refusability, does is it has selected a number of leading artists, international leading artists, mainly from the global south, who take as their starting material this garbage, this waste that is being dumped in this continent, and then working with it as found material to be able to create new works that not only are critical of the onslaught that we are facing, but that also try to use their work to, I don't know, I suppose, create new worlds, new speculative worlds of positivity, of consciousness, of something that we can strive towards to be able to make sense and then move forward from the situation that we find ourselves.
And what was the curatorial process for selecting these specific artists, and how do their diverse practices contribute to the overarching narrative of resistance and reworlding?
Sure. I mean, I love talking about process because I work at an organization at the University of Johannesburg called VIAD. And we set up a program about 2 years ago. We started this program called Bio Art and Design Africa. And what it does is it is a program that looks at practice-led work, which is process-led work. How artists, what artists do, how they do, and what they make. So we are more interested in the practice of art making, of creative practice, than we are in the end product. And so in terms of process, the curatorial process, it is an ongoing process. I would say that it basically is a sort of lifetime interest in issues of environmentalism, climate change, colonialism, decolonial practice. And this exhibition is part of a sort of ongoing curatorial interest, not only from myself and my co-curator, Leora Faber, but also from this unit from which we work and then the University of Johannesburg in general. So it has been an ongoing process. In terms of selecting the artists specifically for this exhibition, it's been such an exciting process. Obviously, I mean, there's a lot of research involved, there's a lot of communication involved, there's a lot of looking at artworks, looking at exhibitions, interviewing artists, reading about their work, and then slowly over the process of, I'd say, a year, whittling it down to what essentially is a very tight curation, very tight selection of about 8 artists who focus very strongly on this issue of refusability, of taking garbage, turning it into new contemporary works, often monumental in scale. One of the key considerations, one of our key selection criteria is artists who create immersive environments. So we are not only interested in, the sort of traditional artwork that we know and love, paint on a wall. We are also interested in artworks who create environments. So what the audience can expect when they walk into this exhibition is a series of immersive environments. So, for example, I'll give you an example of Usha Sejaram's installation called Grassroots and Memory, which is this vast-scale installation of grass brooms that incorporates the floor, the ceiling, the walls. We've included a sound component from the Zebra Collective. We've included a smell component that is reminiscent of the smell of these grass brooms. So you step into what effectively is a world that Usha has created, an immersive environment. And there are a number of key major international works that follow this immersive. So you walk from one environment to another. You walk from one world to another to another. And the term that we use, in fact, is called world building. Artists are not content with the world as we know it and as we are critical of, but are intent on using their creative prowess, their creative practice, to be able to formulate, imagine, and then build new worlds. So in many ways, the artists that we've selected are the sort of the soothsayers of future worlds that are more friendly, less toxic, and more inviting for all people living in it.
Then we've got Opa Sibeko's live performance, which I can imagine is going to be quite intriguing. What is the significance of this performance? How does it connect to the exhibition itself, to the themes, transforming pain into healing, residue into renewal? How does it work?
I love Opa's work. He's a performance artist. I mean, he also does other forms of more traditional work. He does some drawing, he does some painting. But the work that I really love more than anything else is his performance work. And Opa is one of our artists in residence at the University of Johannesburg. About 3-4 years ago, the Department of Arts and Culture started this artist in residency program. And what we've done over the past 3 years is to build up this sort of cohort of artists who are in residence at the University of Johannesburg, who work with issues related to bioart and design. And Opa is one of those artists. And we commissioned him to create a new performance for this exhibition. And he's created a work called And Those Keen Shafts of Memory That Stung Like Fire. And what it is, it's a performance work that he created in collaboration with a spoken word artist, Lerato Matulodi. And the two of them will do the opening performance, the premiere of this work, at the opening tomorrow at 6 p.m. And he is using organic material in keeping with our interest in biological material. He is using organic material, he's using feathers, he's using honey, he's incorporated sea salt, and all three of those elements relate to how to link elements of ritual, elements of life, elements of healing, and how those three come together to be able to facilitate his interaction with the audience. It's a highly interactive performance, so it's not the performance artist doing his thing or the performance artists doing their thing and the audience being on the other side. It is engaged, it is interactive, there is active communication, there's a lot of tactile, there's a tactile approach. So it's to how to draw the audience, and this is what I love about Opa's performance, is how he manages then to separate the performer, how to bring together this natural separation of the audience and the performer into an interaction, into a communication, into making us all complicit and implicit in the work that he's doing. So that should be a very exciting performance, and I'm really looking forward to that. There's a smoke machine involved, which is always a very interesting visual device because it creates kind of moments of secrecy, moments of revealing. So there's a sort of mystery and a drama and an unfolding of the narrative that the props that he's chosen facilitate. So I'm looking forward to that.
Brenton, thank you so much for making time and chatting to us.
Thank you, Bertha. If I can just say one more thing. So if you could please have a look at our website, which is www.viad.co.za. And if you follow us on Instagram, it's BioArt Design Africa. There's lots of information on the exhibition and the forthcoming program of walkabouts and screenings and seminar programs and talks. So please follow us.
Thank you so much. Brenton Mott, curator, chatting to us. Saturday, the 2nd of August, 2025, Usha and Nolan at 11. And of course, Saturday, 16 August, 2025 at 11. And then Wednesday, 20 August, a student walkabout to be done by Kinoa Nyembe. But otherwise, tomorrow, the exhibition opens. That's Thursday, the 31st of July at 6 p.m. The Faculty of Design and Architecture's Gallery, University of Johannesburg.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
So 4 people, 4 men arrested. That is significant. Tell us more.
You'll recall Amand Swart, who was killed in April 2024. He was killed on the 17th of April 2024. And within 3 hours after his killing, Gauteng organized crime detectives then trace his killers. They find his killers, arrest them, seize the firearms that were in their possession. That include an AK-47 and 3 pistols. We immediately seize those firearms. We take them in for ballistics and so on. During December 2024, a ballistics report comes out and says the same murder weapon that was used in the Amand Swart case was also used in the DJ Somebody case, where DJ Somebody and his 2 bodyguards were shot and killed.
Police spokesperson Brigadier Atlanta Martin.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Well, calling all cultural and creative practitioners in Johannesburg by Creative 20, hashtag CE20, the Creative Economies G20 voice. I have a convener of Creative 20, Teboko Mwalusi. So yesterday marked the first session, and it was led by Dr. Maria Paula Magurk, sharing part of her research on creative cities. And Teboho is going to help us understand and unpack where you fall in. If you are keen to be part of this, this is quite an interesting conversation. Teboho, good to have you on the show.
Thank you, and a very good afternoon to you and your listeners. Thank you for having us.
It sounds like a lot of, words or a lot of jargon going on, but it's not. What is Creative 20 and what is the call to action here?
So Creative 20 is a response to the moment. We know that the G20 summit is happening in South Africa this year, an unprecedented moment for the continent. And unfortunately, the creative economy continues to be almost sidelined or as a byproduct of mainstream conversations. We are invited to sing the national anthem and then to do song and dance at the cocktail event afterwards. But we're never in the room when we have to talk around power, when we have to talk about resources, when we have to talk about social and economic impact. And so the Creative 20 really is a platform to try and elevate the voices of the creative economy, because we truly believe that through creativity, there's a lot of impact and opportunity that can be created. We've got a massive youth unemployment challenge in the country and on the continent, and the creative economy could absorb quite a lot of those people into dignified and wealth creation opportunities. The call to action really is for the Creative 20 to be acknowledged and to be recognized as a formal engagement group. You'll know that there's the Business 20, the Youth 20, Women 20, as well as Startups 20. And I think it is out of the recognition that those interest groups are fundamental and important to societal development and global interest. And we believe that creativity is our superpower as South Africans, and therefore the Creative 20 should also exist with a platform to engage and make a contribution.
You'll be presenting a talk tonight at Gallery Momo, Parktown North, titled The Creative Economy, Transforming the Economic Logic of Jozi. Maybe if you could just unpack that?
Yeah, so if you think about the history of Johannesburg, it's always been a mining city. It was established as a mining city, and that's how we got migrant labor, and that's what it's been as an economic logic. But since then, the essence of Johannesburg has changed. Very little to no mining, legal mining that is, happens within the city. But we have not transformed the very essence of Johannesburg as a city. And we believe that the creative economy offers an alternative to kind of this laggard effect of us not responding to how creativity is taking over the world. If you look at some of our big recent exports, such as Amapiano, some of our actors and singers like Tyler, Trevor Noah, DJ Black Coffee, we have the opportunity and the platform to export some of our creative capital and send it abroad, but also to attract capital, tourism, and interest in the country by just making Johannesburg one of the creative cities and a center, an epicenter of culture in the world. And so part of the discussion this evening and tomorrow will be navigating those questions of what type of infrastructure investment do you have to put in? How do you crowd in capital? How do you generate interest in making sure that Johannesburg can make that shift from just being a mining town to being more than just that and becoming the creative capital of the world?
And for more information and those that are keen to be part and parcel, where do they go? Who do they talk to?
So they can reach us on our social media. We are active across all social media platforms at Creative20. We are going to be running a pledge, which is a free pledge, and we are inviting people, particularly creators and those who consume creativity, to sign that pledge. It will be on change.org. We want to reach a number of 10,000 people, and that's 10,000 people who believe in the cause of a Creative 20. And it's not just about the summit. We have to build an organization and a vehicle that will go beyond the summit, because we know that typically these events happen, people leave the country, and we've got nothing to show for it. And so for us, this is a long-term investment in making the creative economy a lot more prevalent and successful in the South African context.
Tebogo Mwalusi, convener of Creative 20. Thank you for making time.
Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thanks a lot, and bye-bye for now. Session 2, the creative economy, that's going to be, or actually today, Wednesday, the 30th, from 6 to 8:30 p.m., the creative economy transforming the economic logic of Jersey. Keynote, of course, Tebogo Mwalusi, convener of Creative 20. So go and join. This is a moment where the youth, this is your time, your space. Find something that you can feed into. I think this is a fantastic initiative. Let's cross over to the news desk. It is 2. When we come back, we continue. In the next hour, I'm going to be talking to Dr. Juliet Sambo, lecturer at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Humanities in the Department of Social Work and Criminology. Observing World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, ending human trafficking requires national response. And this is something that happens on a daily basis. And just to bring it home, closer to home, just a tinsy-wincy bit. Imagine it could be your sister, your brother, your child, your niece, your nephew. What would you do? What would be your reaction if they were to go missing and then only to find out they were trafficked? Just a thought. It's time for news.
Thank you, Bertha. On the top stories, 2 more suspects arrested in the DA chief whip murder in Umgeni municipality, and nearly 2 million people ordered to evacuate due to tsunami warnings. For SAFM News, I am Ondilambana, and a very good day. 2 more suspects have been arrested by the Political Killings Task Team in connection with the murder of the DA chief whip in the Umgeni municipality. Nhlalayenza Ndlovu was gunned down at his home in Mpopomeni near Howick in KwaZulu-Natal in December 2023. This brings the number of arrested suspects to 5. The other 3 are Tobani Hlongwa, Kaelihle Shabalala and Zwelithini Buthelezi, who is an Induna at the Nxamalala Tribal Authority. The 3 are expected to appear again in the Howick Magistrate Court tomorrow. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate elaborates.
2 additional suspects have been arrested today, which include a 56-year-old Nkosi and a 26-year-old suspect who coordinated the murder of the councillor whilst in Pietermaritzburg prison. The pair will appear before the Howick Magistrate Court on Thursday, the 31st of July. They will join suspects who were previously arrested and charged for the murder.
The man who was accused of killing 14-year-old Likona Fose says he's delighted that murder charges against him have been withdrawn. Mduduzi Mnisi appeared in the Roodepoort Magistrates Court charged with the premeditated murder of Fose. Remains were discovered in an open felt in Durban Deep in June. He has previously denied involvement in the murder of Fose. Speaking outside court, Mnisi says he believes that he was framed for Fose's murder.
I'm happy, like, as they withdraw the charges, you see, because I knew from the onset that I didn't commit this crime which they were framing me with, you see. That is why my alibi, I knew that I did have an alibi where I was on that day when it happened, you see. You know people, you know, in the location, when you are around in the location and they know like you were previous doing wrong things, you see, and then now you changed, and then they don't accept that those kind of things in the communities.
Advocate Dalim Mpofu has argued that it was illegal for President Cyril Ramaphosa to have put Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave and appoint Professor Feroz Kachalia to act in his position. Ramaphosa announced Mchunu's special leave earlier this month in response to allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi about corruption between members of the judiciary and public office holders. Mpofu is representing former President Jacob Zuma in the Constitutional Court, says that while the Constitution allows for the President to appoint 2 ministers from outside the National Assembly, the clause does not make allowance for an acting minister.
This whole maneuver is about that. How do I save my friend and close political ally, give him a salary for the next 3 years, 5 years, God knows for how long, while he's doing nothing, but keeps the bodyguards, the drivers, and all those things, and the title, but at the same time, I have someone who must look after the police. So then you think of this long, elaborate contrivance. But the law is very clear. You must do one or the other. You want Professor Kachalia, then you must dismiss Minister Mchunu.
The Gauteng e-hailing services says without formal regulation, the e-hailing operators remain vulnerable to crime and exploitation. The GES briefed the media in Johannesburg on the challenges faced by the e-hailing sector. These include the impounding of vehicles and compromised safety for both riders and operators. GES chairperson Tato Ramaila says continued collaboration between the e-hailing services, taxi industry and government will improve safety and curb violent attacks.
Drivers must be safe, clients must be safe. A client cannot be threatened on which mode of transport to use. People, this is South Africa. Everybody must use what they want to use. But that conversation must be open to say, how do we address those issues? And how do we operate from those issues? But I can rest assured that as GES, we are a stakeholder partnership with the taxi industry. We are able to speak to the taxi industry or meter taxi industry and be able to have a way forward on how we work.
Nearly 2 million people have been ordered to evacuate in Japan following a powerful earthquake off Russia's Pacific coast, which triggered tsunami warnings in many countries. There are traffic jams as people head towards higher ground. A warning broadcast on TV told them to find safety immediately. The 8.8 magnitude quake struck off the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. The BBC's Shaima Khalil reports from Tokyo.
Dozens of waves have hit, some varying between 30 centimeters to up to 1 meter and 30 centimeters. And I think the message from the authorities really is that even though some of these areas along the Pacific coast have been hit, they could be hit again, they could be hit harder. So the message really is stay on high ground. Part of their statement, the meteorological agency, they said that, they can strike suddenly, these waves, that please do not leave safe places until the warning is lifted. And I can tell you it is not lifted. I'm actually getting warnings on my phone.
Recapping the top story, 2 more suspects have been arrested by the Political Killings Task Team in connection with the murder of the DA Chief Whip in the Umgedi municipality in Tlalayenza and Ndlovu. I'm Mundi Lambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival, where music, culture and community come alive. Tune in to Seasons with KG Mwekezi and the soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay, coming to you live from the Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. on the 2nd of August 2025. Come and vibe to Sunel musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zingumalo, Trompis and many more. More than music, share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
In partnership with SAFM, hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival, where music, culture and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sun L musician Kelvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zingumalo, Trompis and more. More than music, share stories, spark change, unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat, Imbaula. And then there's also the giveaway. 6 double tickets to 6 listeners today for you to attend the Imbaula Music Festival with a partner. You'll need to get you and your partner to the event at the Pretoria Botanical Gardens. That's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. All you have to do, just give us a call, 086 000 2032 or WhatsApp on 061 410 4107 and tell us 2 artists who will be performing at the festival.
SAFM is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
Like the legend of the Phoenix, all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. Love. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 The present has no ribbon. Gift keeps on giving. What is this I'm feeling? If you wanna leave, I'm with it. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. lucky. We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get. 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 We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We've come so far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cause to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We're up all night to get lucky.
As Daft Punk featuring Pharrell Williams, Get Lucky. And I remember Pharrell saying, for you to keep young like he is quite healthy, actually, as a matter of fact. A lot of veggies and bathing in cold water. I don't know whether you managed to do that during this winter, but summer is here, so maybe let's give it a try. Cold baths every now and then. Also, we'll be saving HCOM. You know, they're struggling with power, so if we don't use our geysers, it will be quite helpful. But anyway, let's recap. Coming back to what we are here for, it is the Full Circle, the first hour. In case you missed it, Ntabiseng Mweketsi was our first guest, counseling psychologist, and we're talking about supporting a loved one through living with depression. And something I took away, hopefully you took away, is silence plays a pivotal role. Even when you're tempted to give advice, sometimes all you need to do is just listen, listen, listen. Also spoke to Brenton Mott, curator, and we also spoke to Tebogo Mwalusi, convener of Creative 20, and calling all cultural and creative practitioners in Johannesburg so that we could hear their voices. Now, coming up in the second hour, we're going to be talking about observing World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Ending human trafficking requires national response and societal commitment.
Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
Each year, World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, commemorated on the 30th of July, reminds South Africa of the urgent need to confront human trafficking, a crime that flourishes in secrecy, preys on the country's more vulnerable. 2025 theme, this year's theme is human trafficking is organized crime, and it is, I think we've seen it over and over again. Ending exploitation, highlighting the organized systematic nature of trafficking, the urgent need to dismantle the powerful criminal networks behind it. And human trafficking in our country is very complex. Hidden crime embedded with organized criminal networks. It encompasses sex trafficking, forced labor, domestic servitude, organ smuggling. Now, the organ smuggling for me is scary, because imagine if they want an organ that is so vital for you to survive. That is the end. Illegal adoption, debt bondage, forced surrogacy, even use of body parts for use in traditional rituals. South Africa is both a source, a destination for trafficking, with victims trafficked within its borders. We're talking neighboring countries like Lesotho, Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe, as well as Southern Asia. A very worrying factor. So Dr. Juliet Sambo is going to help us unpack, lecturer at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Humanities in the Department of Social Work and Criminology. Doc, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Beth, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you for making time. What exactly is human trafficking? I know we may make it sound so simplified. And how is it different from human smuggling?
Yeah, it is critical that our communities should be able to understand what human trafficking is, or to be aware, as you have already mentioned, that human trafficking happens right in our doorsteps. It is a hidden crime. So human trafficking is an unlawful recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring or keeping people or persons through force or fraud or through coercion or through abuse of power for the purposes of exploitation. So the human trafficking happens for purposes of exploitation. And it happens in a deceitful way. And when you are trafficked, your freedom is denied. Meanwhile, smuggling is different. There is a thin line, but it is different. With smuggling, it is illegal movement of people across the borders. But the smuggler and the person who is being smuggled, they agree. They would agree, there would be a consent, they would exchange some money, because I just want you to take me across South Africa. When they reach here, the relationship ends. But with regards to human trafficking, when you reach your destination, exploitation continues. That's when the trafficker uses you for the intended reason of trafficking you. So I hope I've put it clear, but those are the two differences. The other one, there's no consent in human trafficking. There's fraud. The purpose is exploitation. Meanwhile, smuggling, you agree. There's consent, but it is also illegal. Both of them are illegal. That's the bottom line.
So taking a look at 2025, the theme is human trafficking is organized crime and exploitation. Maybe if you could just explain how trafficking operates as a structured, organized criminal enterprise in South Africa.
It is so complex. I think you also mentioned when you were introducing this topic, it's so complex, very highly sophisticated criminal activity. It is organized in such a way. There are networks that work on this one. So these networks can be transnational. You've mentioned some countries like, Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Malawi. I've worked with all sorts of victims from different countries. So it can be transnational, operating across the borders, and it involves interconnected syndicates that are also very difficult to break. These, trafficking thrives because also it relies so much on corrupt officials. So corrupt officials are the ones also who help, who facilitate this trafficking to happen. So as you are saying, how does it happen? So it's through organized crime syndicates that they use that are highly connected, interconnected, and it is highly sophisticated also. And sometimes when I've done a lot of study on this one, sometimes you think that traffickers are way ahead of the officials that are supposed to break this syndicate.
It's so scary because the most vulnerable are the ones that are always in the spotlight. I mean, I always think of child-headed households where these criminals know there's no one who is a proper, well-informed caregiver. That's where they go. Or even orphans, where there is actually, there are no parents. That's where they go. It's quite frightening. Or those that are looking for a job when you've just, you've reached your wit's end looking for a job because you need to put food on the table, and someone comes with a lucrative offer to say, look, we can make sure you cross the border or you go to Europe, only to find that when you land wherever you land, you are in so much trouble. We're just going to take a small break and we'll come back and continue with our conversation. And I'm speaking to Dr. Juliet Sambo and talking about, we're observing World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, Ending Human Trafficking, which requires you and I to be so vigilant and wide awake.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival, where music, culture and community come alive. Tune in to Seasons with KG Mwekezi and the soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay, coming to you live from the Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. on the 2nd of August 2025. Come and vibe to Sunel musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zingo Malo, Trompis and many more. More than music, share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za.
SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Tune in every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2 for the highs, the heartache, the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere. No subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
And we are observing World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. And on the other side of the line, I've got Dr. Juliet Sambo, lecturer at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Humanities in the Department of Social Work and Criminology. And we're talking about trafficking. And how do you even identify that here I think I'm being lured into something that is dark? Doctor, welcome back.
Thank you, Bertha.
So what kind of criminal networks are typically involved, both locally and internationally?
As I've already mentioned, these criminal networks, both locally and international, so they are transnational syndicates. These groups those are the ones who move people across the border, exploiting especially migrants from within South Africa or globally. So that is a transnational syndicate. So we also have local traffickers. So when we're talking about traffickers, it's not only the transnational. We have those ones who are here, right here. That's why I said it happens in our doorstep. So they can recruit while here in South Africa, and they work hand in hand with the transnational syndicates. Those are the ones who mentioned that sometimes they pose as if they are recruiting for employment purposes, and also they operate within our communities. And they come up with something. I normally tell the youth that if you see that something is too good to be true, you need to question. So those are some of the syndicates that we have. We also have corrupt officials, as I mentioned. So the police, sometimes they are part of this immigration, border agents. Sometimes also they facilitate because they get bribes and ignore and allow people to come across or to come this side. I've had cases where somebody managed to pass through the border, and when they came here. That's when we realized, no man, they didn't even use their passport to come this side. But somebody facilitated their entry into the country. So it is so sophisticated and the syndicates are also very difficult to break, because if officials who are supposed to protect are involved, then it becomes a challenge.
So let's look at the barriers, for instance. I mean, beyond legislation, what are some of the primary obstacles hindering effective implementation of anti-trafficking policies and programs in South Africa? And is it lack of resources? Is it lack of coordination, political will, maybe something else?
Yeah, so it's lack of coordination, and you have talked about funding. Funding is a huge thing, because without funding, even these people, if they are in their strategic places, they would not continue with the cases because there is no funding. And the other thing is that also the scourge itself is underreported, and the cases sometimes when they go to court also they take too long. As a result, sometimes the victims would leave the country without even coming to the end of the case. Education also, I mentioned about raising awareness, but also education among the stakeholders with regards to human trafficking activity, how the recruitment is done, how to identify the victim of trafficking. Also, it becomes a challenge. When we started, we talked about smuggling and human trafficking. These two things, they are criminal offenses, but they are different. So we, in terms of identification, the stakeholders or the service providers should be able to know that what I'm dealing with is human trafficking. They should be able to identify and help the victim and give the right services. So those are some of the challenges. So it's funding can be an obstacle. Having education in terms of understanding what human trafficking is, being able to identify the victims, also reporting the cases. And also we don't have enough shelters where we can put, when I'm talking about shelters, I'm talking about specialized shelters. So you see that when we have the victims have been rescued, where we accommodate them, they go to shelters for domestic violence cases. These two things are not the same, and the services can also not be the same because they are going through different emotional and they have gone through different traumatic experiences.
I've got a voice note. Let me just quickly squeeze in just before I let you go, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
With the sex trafficking of girls is what worries me the most. Kind of like in the movie Taken, the 3 movies Taken. A lot of these girls end up being killed when everybody's done with them. So it's not just that they traffic for sex. Once they finish with them, they kill them. Nelifar Hidayat did a documentary on it a few years ago, and they estimated about 300,000 girls were being trafficked a year in India. They tricked their parents into giving them over, pretending that they're going to take them to the big city and they're going to go to school and all that sort of thing, and then they were trafficked. When the parents came looking for them, if the parents got like hot on the trail and the traffickers knew that the parents were around, then they would kill the girls. So it's a really, really disgusting thing that's going on.
Absolutely. And we wrap it up. That's Dr. Juliet Sambo speaking to us, lecturer at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Humanities in the Department of Social Work and Criminology. And we've been talking about human trafficking. Thank you so much, Doc, and have yourself a good one. Let's cross over to the news desk. It's just gone after 2:30.
Thank you, Bertha. On the news headlines, 2 more suspects have been arrested by the political killings task team in connection with the murder of the DA chief whip in the Umgeni municipality in Nhlalayenza and Ndlovu. The family of 14-year-old Ikona Forse says they still want to know who murdered their daughter. This after charges against Mduduzi Mnisi, the man accused of the premeditated murder of Forse, were withdrawn today. And a powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake off the east coast of Russia has triggered tsunami waves that have already hit Hawaii and California, where people have been told to avoid beaches, harbors and marinas. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
This July, journey beyond the horizon with Chasing the Sun. 5 mesmerizing episodes every Sunday at 7:30 on SABC2. from 13 July to 10 August. Feel the thrill of the adventure, the power of discovery, and stories that light up the skies. Missed an episode? No worries. Stream anytime, anywhere on SABC Plus. No subscription required. Chasing the Sun. Your Sunday nights just got brighter. Tune in to SABC 2, Sundays at 7:30, or watch on SABC Plus on demand.
For the love of the game.
Get ready to brush up on your brightest smile with Dis-Chem's 2+1 cheapest free deals on dental care products. From the trusted Dental Mate to soothing Sensodyne, classic Colgate, and many more. Stock up on all your favorite brands. Get down to Dis-Chem today to enjoy 2+1 cheapest free on the widest range of manual toothbrushes, toothpastes, and mouthwashes. T's and C's apply. Hurry, dental offer ends 17 August, only at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
SABC Education, in partnership with the Department of Health and Dilifa Labantwana, bring you episode 35 of the side-by-side drama season 4, focused on kangaroo mother care.
Say and say, side by side.
Singama Africa Kenya you Tina Singama Africa Kenya you Tina Singama Africa Kenya you Tina.
Joyce, it's all set. The baby shower is going to happen at Pamela's house this afternoon.
Oh, yay.
I think it'll be perfect for Imange. Just a little celebration to show her that she's not alone in this.
Oh, that's wonderful, Lupumzo. I'll talk to the other ladies and make sure we make this a very special day for Imange. Something positive and uplifting, you know?
Yes, thank you, Joyce. Yes.
So, Mama, are you coming?
Am I coming where to?
To Imange's baby shower.
So you want me to go to the baby shower of a child who is having a child? No thanks.
Mom, don't be like that, please.
Why do you feel the need to celebrate this awful thing that happened
Mama.
to this child?
That's exactly why we need to celebrate. To show her that we care about her, Kokmantlov.
Then you must just buy her a gift and send her some chocolates or something, whatever.
Yes.
I don't see the point of this.
Yes, but we want to make it educational.
Yes.
So that she's still young, she's scared, and it's only been 6 months since that teacher, Usiabonga, showed up and was threatening her at her house. And she's due to give birth any day now. This is important.
Yes, please, Mama. I'm going to be talking about kangaroo care and stuff like that.
What?
Kangaroo care. It's a method to care for newborn babies. For the human baby, it's skin-to-skin contact on the mother's chest, which provides the essentials: warmth, breast milk, comfort, stimulation, and protection.
Exactly.
Man, how? So why didn't you just say that? How? Now you come with these fancy English words and what?
Hi, Mama. So will you come with?
Okay.
Thank you, Coco. It'll mean a lot. I think it's really important that Imange feels supported.
It really is. I'll bring the cake and some games, and we can make it very educational, like Ulupumzo says.
Yes.
We can talk about everything, like early motherhood nutrition and all of it.
Yeah. Maybe I can talk about the importance of the community.
Yeah.
It takes a village. After all, Imange needs to know we as the village are there for her.
Exactly.
Perfect. Imange's story won't end here. Today, we'll give her hope for the next chapter.
That's the spirit. Thanks, Mama.
So you're going to Manga's baby shower? That's a kind gesture.
Yeah, Joyce thought it would be a learning experience for her and all of us, really. They want to talk about the kangaroo care and other things, you know?
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes, kangaroo care, I've heard of that. It's like how kangaroos keep their Joe's clothes in their pouch, right? Keeping the baby clothes skin to skin, it's brilliant for newborns, especially the preemies.
Oh, sorry. It's not you. Just been a long day.
Hey, am I that boring?
No. It's just that you know how you get with facts and all. But it's interesting, keeping babies warm, protecting them from infections and all that.
Exactly. It's about giving them the best start. Skin-to-skin contact can do wonders. It can lower mortality rates, keep them warm, way less risk of hypothermia or respiratory infections. It's like babies thrive when they're close to their mom. Heart rates, breathing, everything just syncs up.
Well, look at you, Mr. Kangaroo Care expert. Got any other interesting info?
Plenty, but I'll spare you for now. Just make sure Amanda gets all the cuddles she needs, all right?
I think she gets more than enough. But okay, Dr. Anele. You know your daddy's right. Those cuddles, they the best medicine in the world.
I don't know if I'm ready for this, Mama.
Oh, baby, you don't have to be ready for everything at once, Imange. Just take it one step at a time.
Look, Imange, this is from all of us. It's a kangaroo toy for your baby.
Thank you. A kangaroo, though?
Yes.
Why?
Well, kangaroo mother care isn't just for premature babies, Imange. It's beneficial for all newborns. Keeping your baby close to you, skin to skin, is the best start you can give.
Oh, okay. It helps with breastfeeding too. The baby starts to feel safe and starts bonding with you the right way.
Let me read this. And it doesn't stop there. Skin to skin contact helps your brain produce
Prolactin.
Yes, that word. For milk and
oxytocin, Mama.
Oh. Why am I even forced to read this? Yeah? Let's just cut the cake and celebrate.
Yeah.
Let's get the cake, guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, where's your drink? Yeah.
Singama Afrika Kenya you Tina Singama Afrika Kenya you Tina Singama Afrika Kenya you Tina Singama Afrika Kenya you
Join us again tomorrow as we sit down with an expert at 2:30 to further discuss kangaroo mother care, right here on SAFM.
Side by side.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Welcome back. And this is our conversation, which is very fascinating. What is the digital afterlife? Do you hope to maintain an active or passive digital presence after dying? And we're going to be talking to Professor Yaku Bears, Head of Department of Religion Studies at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Theology and Religion. And just asking that question, what happens when you die? Some believe in the eternal reincarnation of the spirit until deliverance arrives and the spirit unites with the cosmic energy field. Others, on the other hand, believe in the soul residing in either or either a wonderful spiritual place or a place of damnation. Then there are those that believe that there is nothing after death. These views opened a particular understanding of reality. Either way, technology is part of that reality. And the digital afterlife is a relatively new phenomenon that refers to the maintaining an active or passive digital presence after dying. This presence may exist forever or only for a limited period. People can create digital traces intentionally, such as when someone wants to leave unique farewell messages for loved ones, or unintentionally after they die. Trust me, this is so complex, but let's get to unpack. Let's define it. Let's break it down. Professor Yaku Bears, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to everyone.
When I saw the subject matter, I thought, this is fascinating. This is interesting.
Yes, it is indeed. It's actually something totally new on which there's only now starting to be some kind of research on. And that's part of the problem because, as you've indicated, how do we label it? What do we call this phenomenon? There are so many different names trying to describe what's actually happening. So that's part of the problem. It's so recent, so new development that it's not properly defined yet.
So how would you define the digital afterlife from a religious or theological perspective? Does it refer solely to digital traces left behind, or does it encompass more advanced concepts like AI, simulations? What happens here?
Yes, thank you. Now, in your introduction, I think you labeled it correctly by saying it is extremely complex. There are different perspectives on this. Let's first start out with a theological perspective. I think since the start of humanity, there has been this need for humans somehow to create a remembrance of the deceased. So this isn't a new thing that we're seeing now. This has been happening ever since the first human beings existed. So traces of somebody who existed and lived and no longer does. Whether it's by way of a gravestone, tombstone, or a plaque, or just a monument, or just an indication of a special place of meaning. That has existed for many, many years now. Now, what this particular issue is interesting is, and it is probably inevitable, that due to the influence of technology, and I would like to talk about our technocratic society, meaning technology governs all our existence. Now, due to this, the influence also reached the way in how we perceive our own existence. So just in short, trying to describe digital afterlife is, like you say, the active or passive way in which people, while they are living, trying to create a online presence, a legacy, if you like, by either posting photos or music or messages, actively participating in posting this until they die, and this remains online. It might go something as simple as just maintaining a Facebook page for somebody that has deceased. That's on the one side. On the other side, there are people who actually actively want to engage with the deceased, and that's where your reference to AI comes into effect. through AI. Probably this digital afterlife creates another a death ritual or a coping mechanism, or let's rather call it a mourning ritual, a way of bereavement, coping with the loss of a loved one. So there are many different perspectives, and complex indeed.
I can just imagine, Prof. Let's just take a small break. When we come back, I also want to, delve into, we spoke about AI-powered, mechanisms. For instance, one could design something that mimics the one who's deceased. Geez, I can imagine my own family members mimicking me when I'm gone and asking me questions. And it's just, it's mind-blowing. Let's take a small break. We'll be back.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
The Health Professions Council of South Africa, HPCSA, has extended its call for nominations of suitable persons to serve on the HPCSA professional boards. All practitioners actively registered with the HPCSA may be nominated. Deadline for submissions is 31 July 2025. For more details, visit the HPCSA website, hpcsa.co.za.
This Mandela Month, SAFM celebrates the spirit of Ubuntu, calling on all South Africans to engage, uplift, and do good for one another. Let's share what we have, lend a helping hand, and honor Madiba's legacy through kindness and action. Join SAFM as we bring you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and voices that drive change all month long. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And I'm in conversation with Professor Yaku Bears, Head of Department of Religion Studies at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Theology and Religion. And we are talking about what is the digital afterlife. Prof, welcome back.
Thank you.
So I'm so blown. Do you see the digital afterlife as a reflection of humanity's inherent desire for immortality, control over death, or something else entirely? Have we become, I don't know, I don't want to be the one that says we've become destructive, but could it be something where you see destruction from genuine spiritual growth and the acceptance of mortality?
Yeah, no, you're perfectly right. It might be many of these, and I don't want to accuse anybody who feels that there is value in digital afterlife present, but it might be that it's in human nature to try and control our own destiny. In that sense, even what happens to us after we die, in that sense, it reflects something of a need, an urge to recreate life in a different form, for that matter. Then, so it does reflect something of being unable to cope with mortality and temporality. So it's merely trying to extend our presence, our existence. And perhaps, who knows, it might be that we are afraid people might forget about us. So in that sense, prolonging our remembrance in some way or the other. And now we have the facility to do this through technology. So it does reflect something of our human nature, for sure.
So what role then, if any, do you believe religious leaders and institutions should play in guiding discussions and developing ethical frameworks around digital afterlife?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, especially because we, as I've indicated, we live in a society governed by technology. All aspects of our lives are influenced and even determined by technology. And I think religious leaders need to take note of this, that somehow people are also engaging with technology to their religious practices. It's not merely this one aspect of digital afterlife. There are many more examples of technology playing a role in religion. So as religious leaders, we need to be aware of the influence of technology on the beliefs and practices in religion. So, ethically guiding people in terms of their religious beliefs, how to deal with technology. Now, there are probably two ways in how people deal with technology, either seeing technology as the absolute evil. It is terribly bad for us. That's one way of dealing with it from a religious perspective. There are also people who would say, no, technology is the new salvation. It's deliverance. It's causing a lot of solutions to all our problems. So it is wonderful to have technology. As religious leaders, we need to be aware of these two kinds of attitudes people might have towards technology. I think it would be necessary to embrace technology, but not worshipping technology.
I can only see maybe, after the afterlife and having all this AI going on, maybe it could assist in the process of bereavement. But then on the other side, does this not then affect the sanctity of real human relationships, both past and present?
You're right. Technology cannot replace pure human relationships. And perhaps that's part of what I've referred to as the coping mechanism, the loss of somebody, and now creating a substitute in terms of technology, how to cope with the loss. So, you're right. Technology cannot replace humans. We live, fortunately, in a time where people realize, the fourth industrial revolution caused this whole technocratic atmosphere. Everything is technology-driven. But now the pendulum seems to have swung the other way, where we are emphasizing restoring the human face of humanity, coping with technology, having not technology replaced our existence and relationships. So currently we're living in a time at least where people are focusing more and more on putting humans at the center of our existence. So technology, yes, it's important, but I think the whole emphasis should be on harmonizing human and technology coexisting.
And what are the most pressing areas for theological and religious studies research concerning the digital afterlife? I mean, you are immersed in this work.
Yes. Now, of course, since I've indicated, since this is such a new field, any research on it will be valuable. But I think it is important to take note of the technology side of it. How does it function in terms of the internet, the technology side? How does that function on the one hand? But also on the other hand, all right, so where do we as humans fit into this relationship between technology and humanity? So both of these aspects need to be investigated more. But from a theological side, and this is one aspect that I've only mentioned in passing, it is the whole issue also of the coping, the ritual side of this. Our digital afterlife presents an opportunity for coping with loss and bereavement. From a theological side, how do we deal with the whole matter of technology assisting as a coping mechanism in bereavement?
I have learned something new. Now I'm so intrigued. I want to read more. I want to find out more, research on this. This is really fascinating. Never thought in my wildest dreams that we'll be talking about digital afterlife, ever.
Yeah, now it's quite new and it's quite exciting. Whether it's threatening, yes, of course it is, but how we deal with this, we cannot ignore it, we cannot deny it. It's here and we need to face it and learn how to deal with it. Now, you're right, it is exciting.
It is very exciting. Prof, thank you so much for making time. That's Professor Jaco Bears, head of the Department of Religion Studies at the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Theology and Religion. And we're trying to unpack what is digital afterlife. Do you hope to maintain an active, passive digital presence after dying? Well, that's something you can answer yourself. If someone had given me the opportunity before my parents died, maybe I would have kept a little clip here and then, play with AI. Every now and then they call my name. Maybe it would suit me. I'm just saying. But Prof, thank you so much. Have yourself a good one.
Thank you for having me.
And bye-bye for now. Just before we close the show, I know we promised we're going to give away tickets, and I see that The WhatsApps, the voice notes, the calls have been buzzing. You want to go to Imbaula, to the concert. Well, there is an opportunity in partnership with SAFM. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival, where music, culture, community come alive. And this will be on the 2nd of August at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can vibe to Sun El Musician, Kelvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zingu Malon, Trompies, and more. More than music, sharing stories, sparking change, uniting against gender-based violence. All you have to do is grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat, Imbaula. So, I think I'm going to start off with, let's go to Kamo. Kamo?
Hello.
Yes, Kamo, you've got to tell me 2 artists that are going to be performing at the concert.
It's Murder and Amanda Black.
Okay, Kamo, you got it. You got it. Two tickets coming your way, and then you stand on the line. My producer will talk to you. Let's go to Rustenburg. Donald?
Good afternoon, Bertha, and the brilliant team behind the scenes.
So tell me 2 artists that are going to be performing at Imbaula.
Surely it's Amanda Black and Kelvin Mom.
And are you willing to travel, Donald?
I'm willing, Bertha.
Okay.
Last time we were together there at the Kedda Heritage Lodge. Surely I can go to Pretoria.
Okay. So there you have it.
Thank you.
Double tickets coming your way, and enjoy. And thank you so much for joining, and thank you for being part of SAFM family and being part of the Full Circle family. Thank you so much. It's been good, fantastic. To my technical producers and my content producers, it's been absolutely fabulous. The Ashraf Gadar is up next. National Pulse. Does it have a pulse? Is there a pulse? Yes, there is a pulse. Time for us to say au revoir. Let's do this again tomorrow. We out.
Thank you, Bertha and the team. On the top stories, 2 more suspects arrested in the DA chief whip murder in Umgedi municipality, and tsunami waves reach Hawaii. For SAFM News, I am Ondilambana, and a very good day. 2 more suspects have been arrested by the political killings task team in connection with the murder of the DA chief whip in the Umgeni municipality in Tlalayenza, Ndlovu. Ndlovu was gunned down at his home in Mpopomeni near Howick in KwaZulu-Natal in December 2023. This brings the number of arrested suspects to 5. The other 3 are Tobani Hlongwa, Kayelihle Shabalala and Zwelithini Buthelezi, who is an Induna at the Ngqamalala Tribal Authority. The 3 are expected to appear again in the Howick Magistrates Court tomorrow. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate elaborates.
2 additional suspects have been arrested today, which include a 56-year-old Nkosi and a 26-year-old suspect who coordinated the murder of the councillor whilst in Pietermaritzburg prison. The pair will appear before the Howick Magistrate Court on Thursday, the 31st of July. They will join suspects who were previously arrested and charged for the murder.
The family of 14-year-old Liko Nafose says they still want to know who murdered their daughter. This after charges against Mduduzi Mnisi, the man accused of the premeditated murder of Fose, were withdrawn today. Fose's remains were discovered in an open field in Durban Deep in Roodepoort early this month. The NPA says the charges were withdrawn due to new information having emerged and further investigations that needed to be conducted. Mtobeli Fose is the family spokesperson.
Yes, they indicated that